My husband and I have 6 children total, and live in a 4-bedroom house. We have 2 sons together who are in grammar school, and I have a teenage son from a previous relationship. I also have 3 stepchildren, a 20-year-old daughter, a teenage son, and a teenage daughter. For most of the time that we have lived in this house, we have had 2 children per room. The youngest boy shares a room with the older boy, and the girl shares a room with her siblings. However, a couple of years ago things changed. My oldest stepdaughter finished school and is now attending university locally. At this point, the girls decided that instead of sharing a bedroom at both their dad's and mom's houses, they would each have their own permanent bedroom. As a result, the teenage girl now lives with us full-time, while the 20-year-old lives with her mom full-time. They both still visit the other parent's house regularly. My teenage stepson has his own bedroom at his mom's house, but he still splits his time between both parents' houses, usually 50-50. My son, on the other hand, lives with us full-time, as he doesn't have a close relationship with his dad. Unfortunately, my son and stepson don't get along very well, and can often be heard screaming at each other in their shared bedroom. Recently, I suggested to my stepson that he could live full-time with his mom, so both boys could have their own rooms. He would still visit us just like his older sister does, and we could figure out a solution like a futon in their room for when he visits, so my son has more space. However, my stepson overreacted to my suggestion and accused me of kicking him out, when in reality, I was just trying to make better use of the space in our house. It's not fair that all the older kids have their own rooms at one of their parents' houses, except for my son. My son liked the idea and has brought it up to his stepbrother a few more times since I first suggested it, which has caused arguments between them. My husband is angry with me for even suggesting that his son move permanently to his mom's house. He believes that it would damage their relationship as he favors his oldest son over our boys. He also thinks that I'm making his son feel like he is being forced out, even though his daughter has already done the same thing and it worked out well for them. I want to clarify that I am not forcing this to happen. I was simply suggesting it as an option. Ultimately, it would be completely up to my stepson to decide. Do you think this is a good plan, or am I an idiot for bringing it up? Did my stepson overreact? Or was he just acting like a typical teenager whose stepmother asked him to move out of his father's house after listening to him get verbally abused by her son? By her son for a few years? Lady, you aren't fooling anyone. You should go live with your parents with your kids, so your husband has better use of your waste of space. You are the idiot and a step monster? OMG, a better use of space. OP, you're literally telling your stepson that he's a waste of space. How do you not see that? A conversation should have been had with your husband first about this, and no further. Instead, you told your stepson he was a waste of space and should consider moving out. You also explained to your son how a move would benefit him, and how much he deserves this. So now, you've all ganged up on him. What a horrible situation you've created for your stepson. Your husband must step in immediately, if you haven't already, profoundly apologized. Pretend for just 1 minute that your husband asked your son why he doesn't move to his biological father's house full-time. How would that make you feel? How would that make your son feel? You already forced his other 2 daughters out, and don't even see it as bad because it goes with your own nuclear family nonsense. You're a walking embarrassment, right? OP is trying to kick the stepson out. She and her son are making it to the point that the stepson will feel uncomfortable in his own house. This is why stepparents have such a hard time trying to build trust with their spouse's children. This is the fear most children have when their parents marry someone else. They fear being forced out and pushed to the side for their new spouse and their new kids. Let's not forget, my husband favors his oldest son over our boys. I wonder if he favors the oldest, because OP favors her biological kids, and he's just trying to ensure his son doesn't feel excluded. OP, you are the idiot. You've done a stellar job of creating a hostile living environment for your stepson. Stepparents like you belong in a Disney movie, not as the good guy. 2 weeks ago, I, a 27-year-old male, along with 2 other friends, made our annual week-long trip to our mutual friend Alex's cottage. For years, one of our longest running jokes was that I should bring my 46-foot saltwater fishing boat to the lake. This year, after looking up the lake's policies, we decided to make it a reality. To make this happen, we all split the cost of both the permit and the marina fees. The first 4 days of fishing and boating went very well. However, the same couldn't be said for the fifth. The issue started over some fishing we did in the same bay as Alex's cottage. After using my fish finder, we found a prime spot on the other side of it. Roughly an hour into our being there, a woman in her 20s or 30s, whom we didn't know, kayaked across the bay to us. When she got there, she asked to speak to the boat's owner. When I introduced myself to her, she started saying that the boat wasn't allowed on the lake. My response to her was to point at the lake permit in the windshield before asking her to leave and not disturb us anymore. This made her furious, and she started cussing and screaming at us. For safety reasons, Alex started recording her just in case she did anything stupid. This only made things worse as she started trying to pull up our fishing and anchor lines. In doing this, she ended up breaking my $3,000 rod. This was when her demeanor did a 180, and she began to plead with us not to call the police. As collateral, she offered to replace it and pay for next year's permit. I rejected the offer and used my VHF to call for police assistance right in front of her. The result was her getting fined for angler harassment and arrested for felony destruction of property. 2 days after all this happened, Alex and his parents found themselves being visited by this woman's mother. From what he told me, she started going off on them and saying we're idiots for getting her daughter arrested. She believes we should have accepted her apologies and offered to replace it. Looking back, I am conflicted, as what I did could be considered vengeful, as she legitimately offered to make amends. Am I the idiot for getting her arrested? Not the idiot. There's no reason to believe a woman harassing you would pay you back for what she broke. Also, her mom is intimidating witnesses, and I think you should call the cops on her too, for laughs. Of all the similar situations I've been in, the times that I did not call the police came back to bite me in the butt. It sucks that she got charged and fined. Exactly. The way the daughter acted, and then how the parents acted towards you, would have only solidified my confidence that calling the police was the right action. It's clear that the daughter never faced the consequences from the parents, and therefore grew up entitled and not thinking that she should have to deal with the consequences of her actions. The fact that a grown woman has her mother fighting her battles says a lot. You do not owe grace to someone initiating violent, destructive, and unpredictable behavior. Who cares what their mother thinks? Perhaps she should have raised her daughter better, or ensured she would not harass others if she had an issue where she couldn't control herself. My fiancé, 31 male, and I, 30 female, were fortunate enough to land well-paying, remote, and flexible jobs so we could get a bigger house. We don't plan on having any children, and instead give all of our love to our animals. We currently have 4 cats, 2 dogs, and 3 horses, and in the future, we want to be able to purchase a farm and have even more animals. I absolutely love it. I absolutely love each of them, and we make sure they all get the care and love they deserve. Since all the cats and dogs were rescued, some had issues dealing with humans. Horses are a part of my hobby, so I also make sure that they enjoy their lives and can spend most of their time outside instead of in the stables. It's also worth mentioning that one of the cats is 18 years old and has been with me since she was a kitten, and one of the horses has been with me since he was 4. He is now 25, so I always refer to them as my precious babies. My sister-in-law, Kate, seems to have an issue with the way we refer to our animals, especially the way I call my oldest ones. I have explained to her multiple times that considering how old they are and how long they have been with me, they are like my children. I have raised them, taken care of them, and looked after them when they were in need. However, Kate still feels like it is disrespectful to call them babies because they are not human children. She is also upset because her own children are not invited to our house and cannot spend time with the animals. It got worse this week when Kate wanted to come and stay for a few days in our house with her kids and her partner. She wanted to have a winter wonderland photo shoot with the animals since we got a decent amount of snow in the past few days. I told her she is not allowed because her children are still very young and do not seem to know how to treat animals with care and respect, especially since most of them are rescued. Kate did not like my answer and blew up, calling me an idiot for comparing animals to children, making them more important, and not allowing her to visit. Am I the idiot? Edit for context. Kate's children are toddlers in kindergarten, and my fiancé is on my side here. He also cares deeply about the animals and has told his sister that her kids need to learn how to behave around animals and treat them with respect and care. He can also spend family time with them, as we do different activities every few weeks. Not the idiot. Kate seems to have a bigger issue, and I think it is called jealousy. She is mad because you will not let her use your very nice house as a getaway for her and the kids, and she will just have to get over it. It is your home, not a vacation spot or a petting zoo. She wants to use my home for a photo shoot, and she probably sees the kids as props too. Look! People who call their pets their children make me want to roll my eyes so hard I can read my own mind. However, it is your absolute right to do so. In my opinion, it is 100% a me problem. Kate needs to come off her high horse and stop trying to use your home and kindness. She also sounds entitled. There is a certain type of person who gets mad at childless relatives for having nice things that they do not need, when those things could be used to help their own kids. They have so much and they don't have kids. They're selfish not to contribute more to my kids. They don't have kids to raise and they don't need it. They should be giving more to my kids. Kate needs to learn that the world does not revolve around her two children. Yesterday, a 20-year-old female, was driving to school and I ran out of gas in the middle of the road. Basically, my car just stalled. I knew I needed gas on Monday, but I just kept forgetting to stop. I also forgot my phone and I had no idea what I would do. So honestly, my reaction to stressful situations is to just cry to clear my head so I can think. I guess I didn't realize that because I was in the middle lane, I caused a pretty big backup, which made me more stressed, and I was crying because I didn't know how to get out of this predicament. These really nice guys in a construction truck pulled up next to me and asked if I needed help. I said yes. Not only did they push my car out, but they also gave me a ride to the gas station, and even paid for my gas in the little tank thingy, and then gave me a ride back, and then even followed me to the gas station to make sure I made it safely. They were literally the nicest group of guys I'd ever met. They refused to take any money or let me buy them lunch or anything. When I told my brother about what happened, he said I had a long line of making stupid decisions, but I can't be this big of an idiot to get in a car with strangers. I said this is his natural negativity when I'm positive. He said, if our dad found out about this, he was going to be angry, and I was ignorant for putting myself at risk and an idiot. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot. You ran out of gas because you forgot to fill up. You forgot your phone. You didn't try to get help, despite the extremely dangerous situation of blocking traffic. Then you blindly got in a car with strangers. Girl, you have the executive function and decision-making skills of someone who should absolutely not be driving a one-ton automobile around other people. I don't know how people can forget to fill up a gas tank to the point they run out in the middle of a road, and not to mention those many people who didn't make it to an important appointment or meeting on time, or those in a medical emergency trying to get to the hospital, or an ambulance trying to reach someone. People like her are completely living in a bubble of self-importance. You were an idiot for allowing yourself to endanger and inconvenience an entire 3-lane highway because you were too forgetful and foolish to get gas a week ago. And you didn't deal with it at all. You couldn't have. You didn't even have a phone. You just sat there being useless and crying until a saint in a truck dealt with literally all of it. I realize you're only 20, but you must get a grip and grow up fast. You're a danger to yourself and others. You should be ashamed. Yeah, no gas, no phone, crying in the middle lane until a big strong man saved you. You acted like a grotesque stereotype of the helpless little woman. I'm sorry, my dear, but you must get it together. I am a 52-year-old male with 2 kids, a 26-year-old son, and a 19-year-old daughter. When my son went to college, I thought it would open up opportunities for him. He was supposed to major in computer science, but he failed many classes and changed his major to something less lucrative. He went out of state, and now I realize that this was a poor investment. I didn't want to make the same mistakes with my daughter. She also wants to study computer science, and last year she got accepted into a prestigious foreign university in the UK, which she says is like Stanford over there, specifically Cambridge. I didn't want the same thing to happen, so I told her I couldn't help her pay for that, and suggested she attend a local state university or community college, and then transfer. She ended up not going, and deferred her admission to see if she could get a loan, which I am not in favor of, or if she could receive a scholarship for a better American college. She seemed a little annoyed with me since her brother received more financial support, but that was before I knew better. I can afford the same for her, but it would be tighter now, and I don't want the same thing to happen, especially for a foreign degree. I suspect the same thing could happen to her, since her brother was typically the brighter one, while she had to push herself in her last years of school. Am I the idiot here? You are the idiot. It's ridiculous that you think your daughter, who wants to attend one of the top universities in the world, is the dumb one, just because your son couldn't handle college. Good luck maintaining a relationship with her. Your logic is definitely flawed, and you won't have a good relationship with your daughter if you continue to think this way. It's sad when a father's prized son disappoints him. I bet he's the only one who thinks his son is smarter than his daughter. No wonder she wants to go to a university across the ocean to get away from you. It's clear that you don't understand the value of a foreign degree. Let's talk about that because, incredibly, you seem to not know what Cambridge is. Cambridge University in the UK is ranked number 2 in the world, just after MIT. You're punishing your daughter for what you view as your son's mistakes, when you should be over the moon that she got into Cambridge. Give her at least as much support as you gave your son. And while you're at it, maybe give her a cake to celebrate her achievement. Everyone is talking about judging her based on her son's mistakes. I don't see any mistakes, so he changed his major to something that was a better fit for him. He's your child, not an investment. Celebrate his accomplishments. And she got into one of the best schools in the world. Yes, you are an idiot to both of your children. I audibly gasped at this story. This can't be real. I wholeheartedly hope that his son lives far away and is happy with the decision he made. I really hope so. I almost feel like the OP is just as much of an idiot for this as the way he's treating his clearly very talented and bright daughter. I hope she gets in, moves away, and never looks back. She has an incredibly bright future ahead of her. Update, genuinely thank you for calling me out and making me do more research on Cambridge. I think I understand better now. I knew about it, but maybe I underestimated it for being a foreign school. I'll definitely reconsider. She has still managed to defer her admission, and I'll see what I can do to help. The visa application requires proof of funds, I believe.